Hi everyone, and today I have my September wrap-up and my October to be read pile video. These videos basically give you a good idea of the books that I've previously read in the last month and sort of brief reviews, little reviews if you didn't get to see all the individual ones, or maybe I didn't actually do individual reviews for each single book, and then obviously a preview of the month to come. So I think that sort of gives you sort of a good expectation of what you can expect. As I'm sure a lot of you will be aware, September was actually a really bad reading month for me, and I have been on a reading slump, which is quite rare really, but it generally is this kind of time of the year when I do get reading slumps, and it's really disappointing. I start back at school with the motivation to study, yet I just don't seem to find the time to read, and it's really weird, to be honest. But nevertheless, I did still read 3 books, and the first one of those was The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Chbosky, and this wasn't outstanding for me. I didn't love it, but I still really enjoyed it. It was a good read. I think some people in my review maybe thought I didn't like it because I did dwell on negative points. I did find a lot of negative aspects, but there were certainly a lot of good aspects as well, so it wasn't a bad book in any way. I really did enjoy it. It got a 3.8 out of 5 overall, so that is a good rating. Obviously not as high as I would normally give, but you know, as I'm in a reading slump, I do think you can maybe understand that a little bit. The characters were quite good. I think they could have been better. I did like Charlie's persona, but I need more development with that. I didn't fully connect with him or really relate to him as such, and I know a lot of people were against this fact in my review, but I am being honest. If I don't relate to a character, I am going to say, and I think for me the side characters as well needed a little bit more development. I am the kind of reader that wants development throughout the book for all characters, and this didn't have that. It was it came and then it went. There were great parts of development, and then really not great parts as well. And you know, this is very similar to a plot as well. It did come and go with that as well. The writing was basic. You know, I thought it was a decent read. It wasn't bad, and obviously the film's coming out, I think it's 3rd of October, is it? I think it's Wednesday, so I won't be going to see that, but it was still a good book, and maybe when the film comes out on DVD I'll get that. And then I read Eona by Alison Goodman, and this is obviously the second and final book in the Eon duology, and it was quite good actually. It was very atmospheric for me, but this was really when the reading slump started. If you just look at the length of it, it's absolutely enormous, and that is not great for reading slumps. For me, it was hard to get through and hard to picture anything, hard to even understand what happened. If someone asked me for a synopsis, I couldn't say what happened because I just didn't really understand anything as such. I think the reading slump, it's a very heavy style, to be honest, and it's very hard to sort of take things in when you're in a reading slump. If I wasn't in a reading slump, I think I would absolutely adore this book because it is really good, but you have to be really in the zone and in the mood for reading because it's a fairly heavy book. It's a high fantasy book, so there's a lot of elements in there which really require a lot of concentration. I haven't rated every point individually because I just don't think it's fair to do that, but I did give it a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads in general. This is kind of based on a reading slump and kind of not. I don't want to give a really low rating that it puts people off because it is a good book if you're not in a reading slump, but I also want to get some personal opinion in there if I'm even making sense. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but basically I wanted to rate it. I didn't want to put people off, but I have to rate my personal opinion as well and how I personally felt. I am going to reread this and the first book as well straight after each other next year at some time and then do a really fair review because I think it does move on so fast into this book and it just gets right into it that you really should probably read them right after each other. The final book which I read, and I'm actually kind of cheating saying I've read this because I haven't fully read it actually. I'm currently reading it. I've taken a little longer than I would expect because I just haven't had time to read during this week. So it is Skulduggery Pleasant Dark Days by Landy. I love it so far. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I only spent a weekend reading it and I did get through a good majority of it, probably about 2/3. Hopefully that means this weekend I can actually finish it, but I'm kind of going to rate it right now just to give you a good idea because I do think it would be at least a 4.5 or maybe a 4.6 if I was rating it. I've really enjoyed this. It's a very easy style to read, a very easy book to get through. The characters are absolutely fabulous. Because it's a series, you really develop with the characters throughout, and whilst it's a basic style, this is very unlike The Perks of Being a Wallflower where that was also a basic style, simply because it's a series. It can afford to be basic because it develops throughout. With a sort of standalone book, it needs to be filled out throughout the whole book. So definitely it's probably getting me out of the reading slump. Not loads, I still need to get out of it, but it has helped, and you know, it's been really probably the most enjoyable read of the month, probably my favourite one. Obviously, I'm going to try and finish that this weekend or beginning of October kind of time, and then I'll move on to the books that I want to read in October, which we're going to move on to now. So this month, the books I've chosen to read are probably a little more fast-paced, a little bit easier to read, simply because I think this would help me to break the reading slump. I've kind of variated it as well. They're all quite different, and I think this is going to help as well. So the first one is Seekers, The Quest Begins. Oh, it's shiny. Seekers, The Quest Begins by Erin Hunter, and this is the first book in the Seekers series, and this is the second major series that they've wrote, and obviously Warriors is my favourite ever series. Erin Hunter is my favourite author, so this is going to be absolutely fantastic, and I know I'm going to really enjoy it. I don't think Seekers will be as good as Warriors. I don't think it will just have that little edge to it like Warriors does, but I think it'll still be really, really nice to read. Erin Hunter's writing style is always very, very simple and yet at the same time descriptive. It works very, very well with how they sort of have this way of writing that makes it quite easy to get through, yet they don't back away from description, and they always explore some really important themes and things. I think this one is about global warming and stuff and the impact it has on bears and other things, so I think that'll be really interesting. The next book which I hope to read is Legend by Marie Lu, and this actually does get mixed reviews. A lot of booktubers have actually read this, so I was a little bit apprehensive really because of the mixed reviews to actually decide if I wanted to read it or not, but I thought, because someone actually said to me, I can't remember who it was, I think it might have been One Book One Review, might have said to me, I think it was when I did my book haul, this is a very fast-paced and easy style to get through. I don't know anything about it actually, I don't even know what it's about, but you know, I thought I would just give it a go. It sounds quite different, sort of. I'm not sure what it is, maybe a little bit of action and stuff in there. I know it's a dystopia, but whatever it is and whatever it's about, it does sound quite good, and hopefully I'm going to enjoy it. I don't think I'll love it, but it will be a nice read. And then the final book which I hope to read is The Spooks Apprentice by Joseph Delaney, and again, I hold this in August for my birthday, and it does look like a really good book. I'm going to read it towards the end of the month, and, you know, it's sort of, I think it looks a bit horror, maybe. There's a bit of horror in there. Someone did say to me it's not full-on horror, which I completely understand. It might not be, but then I have read other reviews where they said it's quite scary, actually, so I'm excited to see what I think. I don't normally read books from the horror genre, so I think it should be a nice change for me and provide a nice variation from the month. I think all the books I'm actually deciding to read are actually quite different, so I think this will be a nice one to end the month. Hopefully I'm going to get through this in time and really finish it so I can do a review on it. So that is actually it for this video. Hopefully it was very helpful. Hopefully you got a lot of information from the books that I've read in September and the books I want to read in October. If of any of the books that I'm going to be reading you really desperately want a review, please let me know below. It's probably not going to happen that there'll be a review for every single book, but if there is one that you really want a review on, please let me know below. I have some good ideas about what books I want to review, but you know, let me know below. Obviously I'm trying to serve you subscribers out there that you want what you want. But really that's all I have to say for today, so I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, rate, share and subscribe. Tell me what you thought about this video. Tell me about the books or anything you have to say. So that is it, and see you all later.